Imagine reaching the end of your life and realising you never truly lived the life you wanted. Not because you failed, not because you weren't successful, but because you spent years living the life other people expected of you instead. For some people, that's not just a fear, it's reality. After years of caring for people at the end of their lives, Bronnie Ware noticed the same regrets coming up again and again. She later shared them in her book, The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. And the most common regret was, I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. The frightening part is that this doesn't happen overnight. Most people don't wake up one day and decide to live for everyone else. It happens gradually. From a young age, we're told what success is supposed to look like. Get good grades, go to university, get a good job, make good money, buy a nice house, build a successful career. And usually, the people encouraging us genuinely want the best for us. But somewhere along the way, many people stop asking one simple question. What do I actually want? Instead, they spend years chasing approval, meeting expectations, comparing themselves to everyone around them, and following a path they never consciously chose. And you'll notice this everywhere today. People wear what everyone else is wearing. They chase careers because they want to be seen as successful. They compare their lives to strangers on social media. They buy things to keep up with everyone around them. Slowly, without realising it, it's possible to stop living your own life and start living one based on everyone else's expectations. The problem is that most people never intentionally choose their own values. They simply inherit them. The Stoics recognised this problem over 2,000 years ago. They believed that a peaceful and fulfilling life doesn't come from impressing other people. It comes from knowing your own values, thinking for yourself, and being careful about whose opinions you allow to influence the direction of your life. In this video, you'll discover why so many people spend their lives chasing a version of success they never actually chose, how other people's opinions slowly shape the way we live, and the Stoic principles that can help you break free from this and create a life that is truly your own. This is based on some principles in the book A Guide to the Good Life by William B. Irvine. There's a link to the book in the description. You might not want what you think you want. One of the biggest problems is that we can mistake conditioning for genuine desire. Think about someone who's under 18 and says, I want to be a doctor. Okay, but why? Maybe they genuinely love medicine and want to spend their life helping people, but without actually doing it, how do they know? But maybe their parents always told them they should become a doctor. Maybe their parents are doctors themselves. Maybe they were praised for being intelligent from a young age, so becoming a doctor became associated with being successful. Maybe everyone around them treats it as the obvious path, and eventually they stop asking why they want it. They just know that they do. But how can you be completely sure something is your dream if you've never seriously questioned where that desire came from? And this doesn't just apply to huge life decisions. Maybe you want to earn a certain amount of money. Why that amount? Maybe you want a certain car. Why that car? Maybe you want a particular house, career, or lifestyle. But if nobody could see it, nobody could congratulate you for it, and nobody could judge you for not having it, would you still want it? That question can be uncomfortable, because it forces you to separate what you genuinely value from what you've simply learned to value. And this is where the Stoics become useful. They believed you should consciously develop your own values, rather than simply absorbing the values of everyone around you. Seneca warned that the vices of other people can spread to us almost without us noticing. And that matters because your environment is constantly telling you what you're supposed to want. More money, more status, more possessions, more recognition, more achievement. And there's nothing inherently wrong with wanting any of these things. The problem is when you never stop to ask yourself why you want them. Because if you don't examine your values for yourself, you can spend decades pursuing someone else's definition of success without even realising. And that's where the problem gets even bigger. Other people can quietly take control of your life. Even when you know what you want, other people's opinions can still influence your decisions. Because most of us don't just want things. We want to be seen as successful. We want approval. We want respect. We want people to think we're attractive, intelligent, successful, or interesting. And there's nothing inherently wrong with wanting people to like you. The problem begins when their opinion becomes more important than your own. Marcus Aurelius wrote something that I think is incredibly relevant today. I am often surprised that we all love ourselves more than other people, yet set less value on our own opinions of ourselves than on the opinions of others. Think about how strange that is. You live with yourself every day. You know your own goals, your own values, your own circumstances. And yet someone who barely knows you can make one negative comment and suddenly you start questioning yourself. Someone doesn't like your career choice. Someone thinks your clothes look stupid. Someone makes fun of what you're doing with your life. Someone on social media appears to be more successful than you. And suddenly your opinion of your own life starts changing because of theirs. This is where the Stoic approach to insults and criticism becomes useful. The Stoics didn't say you should ignore everything other people say. They suggested you examine it. Is what they're saying actually true? Is this someone whose judgment you respect? Is there something useful I can learn from what they've said? Or is this simply the opinion of someone who doesn't understand my life? Because not every opinion deserves equal weight. If someone you genuinely respect and who truly lives the life you want to live gives you useful criticism, listen. But if someone you don't respect, or you do even respect them, but they don't live the life that you want to live, dislikes what you're doing, why should their disapproval determine the direction of your life? And there's an even deeper Stoic idea here. Epictetus argued that what upsets us isn't simply what happens, but our judgment about what happens. Someone can criticise you. That's the external event. But the thought, they think I'm a failure, so maybe I am. That's your judgment. And that's where you give their opinion power over you. You can't control whether someone judges you. You can't control whether they approve of you. You can't even control what they say about you. But you can control whether you accept their judgment as your own. So the goal isn't to become someone who doesn't care about anyone else's opinion. It's to become someone who can hear an opinion without automatically letting it change how they see themselves or the life they're living. Because you can listen without obeying. You can accept useful criticism without letting it define you. And you can understand that someone disapproving of your life doesn't automatically mean you're living it incorrectly. But it isn't only direct criticism that can control us. Sometimes we don't even need someone to tell us we're falling behind. We just look around and decide it for ourselves. Stop competing in a game you never chose. Someone gets a new car and suddenly yours doesn't feel as good. Someone buys a bigger house. Someone gets a promotion. Someone goes on an incredible holiday. Someone gets married. Someone starts a business. And without consciously deciding to, you start moving the goalposts. You don't necessarily want what they have. You just don't want to feel like you're behind. That's the trap of living according to other people's standards. You can spend your entire life keeping up with the Joneses, without ever asking whether you even wanted to be in the race. And if your sense of satisfaction depends on how you compare to everyone around you, you can never really be at peace. There will always be someone richer, someone more attractive, someone more successful, someone with a bigger house, someone with a more impressive career. And if that's the game you're playing, there is no finish line. Because the moment you reach one level, someone else is already further ahead. So the solution isn't to stop improving yourself, it's to stop allowing other people's lives, opinions, or insults to determine how you live your life. You have to decide what actually matters to you. Maybe success means financial freedom. Maybe it means having enough money to work fewer hours. Maybe it means spending more time with your family. Maybe it means building something of your own. Maybe it means travelling. Maybe it means living simply. Maybe it means pursuing something that wouldn't impress anyone else, but makes you genuinely excited to wake up in the morning. The point is that you have to choose. Because if you don't consciously decide what a good life means to you, someone else will decide for you. But figuring that out can take time. I know that because I've been through it myself. I've done what everyone told me was the right thing to do, only to move on to the next thing everyone told me was the right thing to do. And eventually you can realise that if you've spent your whole life listening to everyone else, you might not actually know what you want yet. So sometimes you have to step away from all the noise. Stop constantly consuming what everyone else thinks you should do. Stop taking everyone's advice. Give yourself some time to explore. Try things you're genuinely curious about, even if they don't immediately make you money or look impressive to anyone else. Your purpose and passion is yours, not anyone else's. And perhaps, most importantly, become comfortable with sitting with your own thoughts for a while. Because when you're constantly distracted, constantly consuming and constantly listening to everyone else's opinions, it's very difficult to hear your own. You most likely won't figure out exactly what you want overnight, and that's okay. The point is to start exploring your life consciously, instead of blindly following the path that was laid out for you. But figuring out what you want for yourself doesn't mean you have to reject everyone around you. That's not Stoicism. We have responsibilities to other people. We should listen to people we respect. We should learn from criticism. We should care about the people we love. But there's a difference between considering other people's opinions and letting those opinions control your life. So start asking yourself some uncomfortable questions. If nobody could see my life, would I still want this? If nobody could praise me for achieving this, would I still pursue it? Am I doing this because I genuinely value it, or because I want someone else to approve of me? And perhaps the most important question, if I continued living exactly as I am now for the next 20 years, would I be happy with where it takes me? Because you don't want to wait until you're 40 or 50 to realise that you spent decades chasing a definition of success that wasn't yours. And if you're already older and that question makes you uncomfortable, that's not a reason to give up. It's a reason to start questioning things now. There are many people who found their greatest success later in life. Colonel Sanders, Samuel L. Jackson, Vera Wang, to name a few. But the point also isn't that you need to become successful later in life. It's that you still have time to decide what you actually want your life to look like. And this is where the Stoics gave us something important. They believed philosophy wasn't supposed to be something you simply read about. It was supposed to change how you live. And that starts with becoming conscious of your own values, rather than simply accepting the ones you've inherited from everyone around you. Being careful about whose opinions you allow to influence you, learning to accept criticism without being controlled by it, and most importantly, deciding for yourself what a good life actually looks like. Because you only get one life. And if you're constantly trying to make it look good to everyone else, you might never actually stop to see whether it feels good to you. There will always be people who think you should live differently, but you don't have to build your life around their expectations. The Stoics understood that a good life starts with deciding what you actually value, and then having the courage to live according to it. Because, I'll say again, you only get one life, and you don't want to spend it trying to make your life look good to everyone else, only to realise later that you never stopped to ask whether it was actually the life you wanted. So instead of asking, what will everyone else think of my life? Ask yourself, am I actually living it? I'd love to know your thoughts. What's one thing you've realised you were doing because you genuinely wanted it? And what's one thing you might have been doing because other people expected it from you? Let me know in the comments below. If you learned something new, please like and subscribe to keep learning. If you know anyone that's interested in this kind of content, please share this to them as it really helps me out. If you want to watch any of my other videos in this series, then the playlist will be on screen now. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one. And remember, stay positive even when it seems everything is against you.